I'm Michael HASLETT, a man of leisure, time on his hands, looking for something to do to fill the empty days. Thursday nights around Jenny's house usually helped, but I was looking for something more fulfilling.
Oh, Michael, come on in. Our bored young friend has arrived.
What's wrong with you there, Michael? Finally realised that there's more to life than bread all day? Finding it fun living on peanuts?
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Nice to know you're interested in my welfare.
Well, from what Auntie Jenny's been telling me, seems you're getting tired of being home all day. Nothing to do. How's the job hunting going?
Well, it's not really about job hunting, Rich. I suppose you could say I'm in need of a change. I mean, one can only watch one's videos so many times.
If you find yourself a job, most of your boredom will disappear.
Yes, but knowing Michael, that won't happen till doomsday. You need to get out and about a bit more. Why don't you go away somewhere?
Yeah, well, it's nice in principle, but it costs money, and, you know, my financial resources are strictly limited.
Oh, why don't you use your initiative, go away and stay somewhere? It doesn't cost much for one night in a guest house. You know, get a train or a bus.
No,
go anywhere.
Sorry, but sounds nice, but I just don't think I can cope with that sort of thing, you know?
But it doesn't cost hardly anything. Try it! You know, I mean, all you've got to do is go out, buy a map, follow it, go somewhere and have fun.
Well, I could give it a go, but surely map reading would come into play, and I can't read a map.
Oh, maps are fairly straightforward. Just see how you get on, that's the main thing.
Got a clue what I'm doing, you know? Yeah, I think so, man. Right, map reading lesson number 1.
Right, dearest darlings.
I can show you what I don't know now.
Well, I think the red things are the roads. They're the A roads.
Red roads. Nice bit of alliteration, I can remember that.
And that's the motorway and that's the river.
What's the river?
That's the river there.
Oh, the light blue, of course. Well, comes out.
Same colour as the sea.
Yeah, okay, very funny.
And they're the mud banks.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're the mud banks all along, you know, this dirty, great
Thanks,
thing.
Smudge. I expect Smudge knows a bit more about this.
Where are you going anyway?
Well, we'll come to that in a minute, Amy. I like this. It's very detailed, obviously, that you've got mud and sand. You've got a place reserved on this map for mud and sand.
Yeah, that's the western mud.
I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice just to go and visit some mud and sand.
Put your feet in between and go...
I mean, you might have relatives. You might have relatives staying there, perhaps. You know, send them a postcard. Well, actually, I was hoping anyway when I do go somewhere that I might have some help.
Don't look at me, matey, not a chance, not a bloody chance.
Him?
Matey.
Walk?
Me? Walk? More than
You
a
have
mile?
me for company.
Oh yeah, wow. Such
That was the
exhilarating
idea
fun.
of asking you. I mean, I
Oh
don't
no,
really
no
fancy.
way, matey, not a chance.
Oh well, Jenny.
Bet you 100 quid. I'll give you 100 quid if you do it.
I don't care, I'm not doing it, I'm sorry, no way.
And not you, Jenny, I suppose. No chance.
I would love to, but I've got a TME coming up.
Story of her life. TMA.
So where are you going then, chappie?
Well, I did have an idea of if I could find it. Chepstow.
Just across the bridge.
Where is it on here?
Where's the bridge?
Yes, it's down there. We've got the bridge.
Yes.
And Chepstow's just along there.
How do you know that's a bridge?
Because it goes across the water.
Oh,
He's a clever chap, isn't he? Yeah, I did think about that. I mean, you can get a bus there. Simple enough.
Yeah,
It has to be simple, basically.
300 goes up there, I think, from the bus station. No
Yeah.
probs. Straight
Well,
into Chepstow town.
That'd be a simple way to start. I'd still rather not go on my own, but I can see I'm going to get shortchanged
Think how
community.
good you'll feel if you
Yeah.
do it. Think
Oh,
of
I
it.
feel wonderful.
Achievement.
wonderful
That you've
achievement.
done something on your
You can
own
write
thing.
achievements in your CV as well, you know.
Yeah, going on a bus to Chepstow, but well, at least yes, I shall be swelling with pride when I get back. I can boast to you, both
Why
that
would?
I have been to Chepstow. But well, if you say, oh, I suppose you're going to make me do this on my own, so
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that might be it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to see you ache when you come back.
Oh, there'll be
You're
no
going to
problem.
be really sore.
No,
you
no.
know.
You might
No
not
problem.
be.
He will.
I can walk that.
Oh.
In fact, I'm almost tempted not to take the bus. Simple enough.
Yeah,
You can
go,
walk-
yeah, could swim across.
No,
the
no,
river
you
as
can
well,
walk
couldn't
across the
No,
bridge.
well,
You can walk
I'm just thinking it'd take too long, so, you know, I'll have a nice walk when I get
an
there. No?
hour, catch it up to the
You
auxiliary.
trust me, when I get back, well, you know, hey, it won't be news. It'll be simple
And just
job.
think, when you come back, you can come up Ben Nevis for me next year.
Well, I'd love to, Jenny. I mean, the Ben Nevis itself doesn't frighten me, of course. I mean,
No.
I'll run up it. I'll run up it. Yes, I think so. But it's the getting up at 5 in the morning, was it? I'm not so keen on that, and the long
Look at that.
Scotland, of course. Where I might have to bring my passport. Foreign
Maidstone
domains,
Pit.
you know. But
They've got a pit named after
I
you.
think yes, Chepstow will be a nice, shall we say, comfortable place to start. So we'll see how I like it.
Here I was, walking around a strange town, all on my own. I didn't really have a clue why I was doing this. Still, at least I was getting out, like Jenny had suggested. I decided to have a look around Chepstow Museum whilst I was here anyway, to try and discover something about the history of the town. The Saxons named this place Chepstow, and it was formerly defended by a wall known as the Port Wall, which was severely damaged during the Civil War. It extended from the west end of the castle for 1,200 yards and circuited back to the river. The old road bridge over the Wye was one of the main entrances to the town. The castle is the main point of interest in the town. It stands on the edge of a narrow spur which slopes down to the Wye. This narrow ridge has the river and its cliff making a magnificent defence on the north side, and a huge deep gully known as the Dell divides the spur from the town and the low-lying ground to the south, which therefore created a natural defensive site. Well, I was feeling quite good by now. I'd explored all around the town, which had been most interesting. I'd had some lunch, and was now thinking about going on a short ramble in the countryside, just outside of the town. On the map, I found an area known as the Great Barnet's Wood, so I decided to go there for my afternoon walk. The trouble was, I had to find it first, and as I wasn't used to reading maps, it unfortunately took me longer to find than I had first expected. Eventually I did manage to find Great Barnet's Wood, so this was where I would really be putting my map reading skills to the test. This looks interesting. Now that must be this path here. I'm not sure though. Oh hell. I'll follow it all the same. Where am I now? God, surely I haven't come out this far. I must have misread the map somewhere back there. I'll follow that track. It must lead towards the wood again. Right, now that I'm back at the wood again, I'm not going to leave it.
Oh hell, I'm back where I started. Well, I've had enough of this lot. I'm going home.
I don't believe you got so frustrated. I don't think you really enjoyed walking around the countryside.
Well, I did enjoy it, walking around the town, Chepstow, learning some of the history about it. It's just the woods. I mean, tried following the map, and just ended up going around in circles. It was extremely frustrating.
Oh, if you asked me, Michael, you give up too easily, didn't you?
No stamina, listen.
Terrible. I personally think it's brilliant. It's a great adventure. You know, if you don't know where you're going, it's super. I think you should go out and give it another go. Do you?
Well, I don't mind giving it another go, but, you know, I'll probably get lost again if I try anywhere else.
Give us the maps. Let's have a try and find somewhere for you. Right. You ever read maps before?
Many, many years ago.
Many years ago.
Far too many to mention.
Right, Chepstow there. Right, there's an area there with a reservoir. Loads of woodlands all around, so and walks, so they're bound to be signposted. You might get lost with those, would you?
Well, how do I get out there? It's a pretty long way out of Chepstow.
Well, there's Chepstow, Newport. No, there's a main road that runs between the two, so there's bound to be a bus, isn't there? So you get off near Penhow, and look, the road goes straight up to it there. So you should have no difficulty.
You reckon there'll be a bus?
Yeah, no probs.
Okay, I'll try that next week. Should be a bus, as you say. That'll do.
The next weekend, then, I took Richard's advice and picked up a bus timetable for the area around Chepstow. Luckily, Richard was right when he suggested there might be a bus to this location that he had pointed out on the map. I was feeling more confident this time. As Richard had said, it was much easier following a road than it was walking through woods and across fields. I was also beginning to realize how wonderful it was to be totally alone, out in the quiet country, as opposed to being in the hustle and bustle of a noisy city where I'd been used to living all my life. This was a completely new experience for me, and I was starting to feel I could really get used to this kind of life. Despite this wonderful day I was having, I still felt rather nervous exploring unknown territory all on my own. I'd have felt much more at ease if one of my friends was accompanying me. Jenny was spending most of her social life studying for her university degree, so she'd have no time for this. Richard wouldn't do this full stop, despite his advice to me, and all my other friends were either working or had their own plans for the weekend. At the junction at the end of the lane, I had to decide which way to go. Eventually, I followed the lane in the direction towards Usk. As I walked along, little did I know that I was about to encounter some very mysterious circumstances.
Come in. I'll tell you.
Come in. Here, coffee.
Thanks. I need this. Ooh. Worked up quite a first.
Well, now that you've settled down a bit, you think you could tell me what's up?
Well, you know I had that great day out, walking in Wentwood.
Yeah.
Didn't quite tell you everything that happened. At first I didn't make much of it. And I got a little scared. Then something happened which was got me a bit puzzled. It was when I decided to follow that lane towards Usk and have a stroll around Wentwood Forest.
I sat down to eat my sandwiches at the picnic site I had come across. It must have been late afternoon, as most people were leaving by this time. Before long, I discovered that I was the last person to leave this area, so I continued on my way. As I was walking towards a place in the woods known as the 5 Paths, I had this eerie feeling that someone was watching me. I thought perhaps I was imagining it, but the feeling kept coming back to me, and I'm pretty certain that I could hear someone there. I quickened my pace with nerves, not daring to stop. I was just determined to get to the nearest bus stop, to be safely home again. I was praying there'd be a bus here soon. I couldn't check the timetable, as I didn't have one for this particular route. As I was standing there waiting, I had that feeling of being watched again. I looked across the road, and I could see a man standing there, just looking at me. My nerve broke.
I stopped when I found another bus stop. Kept looking around me to make sure this mystery man still wasn't following me. Luckily there was no sign of him. Soon enough, to my relief, a bus came along. All the way back I kept thinking, who was he? Why was he following me?
Yeah, it's a very strange and nerve-wracking experience. I'm glad I wasn't out there in Moan.
It didn't stop there though. Look, this morning I received this letter in the post. Oh, look.
Dear Michael, how are you, my friend? I do apologise if I scared you the other evening, but I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw you walking through Wentwood Forest. You seemed as though you weren't quite sure where you were going when I was watching you, so I thought I'd follow you silently to try and surprise you. Unfortunately, I scared you off instead. I have been a walker for many years. It has always been my first love. I spent most of my childhood in Chepstow, so I know the countryside around there better than I know the back of my own hand. I have been gifted with a very good sense of direction, and even if I do say so myself, I will hardly ever get lost anywhere, even if I've never been to a certain area before. So, Michael, I suggest perhaps we meet someday soon. I can show you many adventures all around that southeast corner of Wales and a few other areas nearby. You've already discovered Wentwood for yourself, so you've had at least a sample of what much of the countryside is like around there. If you fancy a walk this weekend, I suggest trying Bach, which is a picnic area just off the road between Chepstow and Usk. I plan to go there on Saturday for a short walk from about 12 till 2. Hopefully I'll bump into you there. Signed, the Solitary Rambler.
So what do you think then, Jenny?
Very mysterious. He hasn't signed his name, written his address down. I don't know. I think he's playing games with you myself.
Well, he must know who I am, apart from the fact he knew my name. He has my full address.
You've no idea who he is?
None whatsoever. I mean, I don't know anyone who lives in Chepstow and loves walking. I really don't know. What do you think I should do?
Well, bloody well go down there on Saturday and meet him. You know, can't you make your own decisions?
Right, okay, it's just nice to have a second opinion.
That next Saturday, then, I checked with the Tourist Information Office in Chepstow to find out exactly where this Bach picnic site was, and set off on my way. Eventually I managed to find the site, although I was rather late. It was about 1:30. There didn't appear to be anyone about, but I guessed that Ford Escort must belong to the mystery man. I thought if I followed the forest walk, I would be bound to bump into him. time was getting on low, as I remembered that he wrote in his letter to me that he would be here between 12 and 2 o'clock. It was now 2 o'clock. I decided to go back and sit down by one of the picnic tables, as I had noticed that the Ford Escort was still there. So I thought I'd wait until the owner returned. I missed him. I couldn't believe it. All I could do was watch with sheer frustration as the car drove away and out of sight. I felt as though I'd wasted a whole day coming all the way out here. I'd probably missed the only opportunity to find out who this mysterious Solitary Rambler was. That was unless, of course, he contacted me again. Then I suddenly remembered something. I could remember the registration number of that car. A607RFB. Yes, of course, I had it.
Hello?
Hello, Jenny? Yeah, it's Mike. I'm afraid our mystery man managed to elude me.
Oh no, how was that then?
Oh, well, by the time I got to the car park, it was getting on a bit late. What made it worse was he managed to leave from right under my nose.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you see, there was this yellow Ford Escort parked in the area car park. I figured if I just waited by there, he'd be bound to come back to it.
Yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it belongs to this Rambler of yours.
Oh, I think it was pretty definitely his car. I mean, there was no other car there at the time he agreed to meet me, and I think it's too far out this area for anyone to come without a car,
No, that's true. So anyway, what happened next then?
Well, I was just sitting there waiting, to see if he'd come back, and suddenly the car just pulled away. I think he must have crept past me. Fortunately, I did manage to make a note of the registration number.
Oh, great. So what are you going to do now? Search all over the country for this car? Be realistic, Michael. The chances of finding it are extremely slim.
I'm not so sure about that. The letter I received from him was postmarked Chepstow, so I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that's where I'd find the car. Now all I need to do is get a few people together, perhaps yourself, and we can search Chepstow for that car.
Well, I'm not bloody well wearing myself out walking all over a town just to find a car.
Oh. Well, perhaps I should ask Richard.
Well, I think I can safely say in his behalf that he won't find himself searching endlessly either.
Well, I suppose I shall have to do it myself then, won't I? Yeah, thanks a bunch.
Ouch.
A607RFB. Now that I had found the car, the next thing I had to do was wait for the owner to come back to it. This time, I was going to make sure that I wouldn't miss him.
Looking for me by any chance?
Patrick Leach, of all people to find here.
Well, I thought I was being chased by some funny bloke through the woods. I was really surprised when I realised it was you, Michael.
You're not the only one who's surprised. Imagine the shock I got when I found out you're the Solitary Rambler.
Ah, well, there you are, you see. You see, when I sent you that letter, I realised that you probably wouldn't guess it was me, so I thought I'd have a little bit of fun. Anyway, I went on that walk to pre-scout back today, and you didn't turn up, did you?
I did. I even saw your car. I was waiting close by in case you turned up. Well, I guess you must have pulled away before I got a chance to see you.
Ah, right, yes, I remember now. I was wiping the floor because I had trodden a lot of mud from my walk into the carpet. So I drove off because I didn't think you were going to turn up.
So you mean to say you were there all the time? I mean, oh, I don't believe it. Jenny and Richard will be surprised too when they find out who you are.
Will they indeed? Ah, right. Well, if they're around, I suggest that you and I pay them a visit tomorrow. It's a shame that Richard went over to his parents' house for Sunday dinner today. He'd be in real fits of laughter if he realised it was me that was following you through those woods, Michael.
Yes, less of the sarcasm, thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd have been bloody well scared if it had been you alone in those woods instead of Michael, Patrick.
Yes, I'm sorry I scared you, Michael. But to be honest with you, I was so shocked to see you in Wentwood of all places. I couldn't believe my eyes when I realised it was you.
Okay, so why didn't you show yourself once you knew it was me in Wentwood?
I followed you for a while, and then after a while you seemed to vanish. Later on I saw you again, and you appeared to be waiting at a bus stop. But then you ran away down the road. So I lost you then altogether.
Well, I just saw this figure standing there watching me. Afraid my nerves got the better of me.
Well, that's why I sent you that letter. I thought I would remain unknown, so that I could really surprise you if you met me at Priescow Bath.
You like walking then, do you, Patrick?
Yes, absolutely, Jenny. Well, you see, many years ago I used to actually live in Chepstow, and because it was located very near to such beautiful scenery, such as Wentwood, it just became natural that I became so fond of walking. I quite often go back there now and visit my grandparents who still live in the town, and then get a bus or walk to somewhere very near the town and just walk in the beautiful countryside. Wonderful.
Richard and I were trying to persuade Michael to take up walking, you know, because he's so bored with everything else.
So, what's your verdict on the walking that you've done so far?
Well, I still can't follow a map very well, but apart from that I found it pretty exciting.
Well, I must say I'm very glad to hear it. You know, you ought to come walking out with me when I go for a weekend soon. I'll tell you, you won't need a map if you're with me. I've got such a good sense of direction, I could show you a few things, my son.
You know Wentwood well then, do you, Patrick?
Very well. Yeah, you see, years ago my family and I used to go there for day trips and stuff, because it's quite near to Chepstow. More recently I actually go there on the bus now, on a Saturday, walk to Wentwood from Chepstow, stay overnight at the bed and breakfast. There's a lovely little farmhouse I know there, and then the next day I walk down to Usk, which isn't too far from there, and get the bus back from there.
Goodness, I mean, it's a walk and a half, that. I don't think I could manage it myself.
Well, you do get used to it. I've now been walking for so many years that 20 miles is nothing, absolutely nothing to me. The last time I did the walk from Chepstow to Wentwood, it's not really that far, but I did get up very early in the morning so that I could do the walk at a nice steady pace without having to hurry. I climbed up the old Chepstow road, out of the town itself, and walked down the old mountain road.
Passes between the hospital and the youth hostel and descends the other side to a tiny hamlet known as Bayfield. At this point, I was right out in the open countryside, yet I was only a mile or so from the busy town centre of Chepstow. As I arrived in Mountain, I remembered how unusual I always thought it was to see such a small roundabout, and in such an isolated little village. I don't think I've ever seen such a small roundabout of this type anywhere else in the whole of the country. I continued on my way, and was wondering what it must be like to live in these tranquil but expensive-looking houses. The residents here must lead extremely private lives, shut away from the rest of the outside world, yet they are in easy reach of the town if need be. After a while, I reached the village of Shire Newton. It was here I decided to have my lunch stop. Of course, the local pub was beckoning me towards it. I tried hard to resist, but unfortunately, well, I was won over, and found myself walking inside.
You just had a cup of tea inside, of course, Patrick.
Well, of course. Well, you see, I wanted to drink tea, but unfortunately I think the barman must have misheard me, so he ended up giving me a pint of bitter. Though I didn't want to make a fuss, so, well, you know how it is, I just drank it without a word.
I always feel a great sense of relaxation walking in the country after a pint or two. I can just lose myself in this wilderness and forget about my troubles. Eventually, I came to the village of Llanfair. Here I knew that it wasn't much further to my final destination of this day's walk. I had only the last stretch to walk now. I climbed on up the lane with a great feeling of anticipation of what I would soon be coming to. When I finally made it to the top of the long climb, I was able to just relax and gaze over the view of Wentwood Reservoir, along with the attractive-looking tower in the middle, which are the property of the local water authority. I've seen this view time and time again over many years, but each time is as good as the first. I had more or less reached the end of my walk by this time, when I had the surprise of my life to find you, Michael, walking along the lane in front of me. Before I decided to follow you, however, I made my way towards the farmhouse where I was to be stopping over for the night. As I walked down to it, I had another view of the meadows towards dusk. I thought, this is the life. What a wonderful day. So, that's just one example of one of my many walking experiences.
Sounds absolutely brilliant. You know, I really think I'm going to have another crack at this walking lug.
Well, I'm sure Patrick will take you walking with him next time he goes, Michael.
Well, Patrick, would you mind?
Well, Michael, I must say, I do usually prefer to walk alone. I mean, you see, I'm a solitary rambler, and my own company I can go as long as I like, wherever I like, stopping where and whenever I like, at my own leisurely pace. But I'd be delighted to have you share the experiences of one of my favourite walks. There are so many places to enjoy, and Wentwood is just one of them.
It was arranged then. We were to go walking together soon. I wasn't sure exactly where, but I didn't bother to ask Patrick, as he obviously liked to remain mysterious. I was just waiting with anticipation for my next adventure with Patrick Leach, the Solitary Rambler.